Okay friends, it's time to get started on our job. Now you can fairly easily access this through the driver's side wheel well. I'll make my way all the way in here to right where the sensor is. It screws directly into the engine. Now it's going to be very easy for me to just go ahead and reach my hand in here. If you don't have very much clearance in this area, you can carefully lift up the vehicle by the frame, which will drop your suspension a little bit, or you can even carefully lift up the vehicle by the frame and remove the wheel. For me personally, I'm just going to go ahead and reach on through here and access it in this direction. Now all I need to do is reach inside here. I'm going to grab onto the electrical harness, give it a little squeeze. There's a spot on it that has a tab. Once you squeeze it, you should be able to release this. Every time you disconnect an electrical connector, you need to take a peek at it. If you see any funny colors in the connector, it's probably corrosion, and that would need to be dealt with. Ours looks fine, so I'll go ahead and set it aside. Now I'm going to use a 21mm socket, a swivel, and a couple extensions. I'll go ahead and make my way onto the sensor itself, and then I'm going to start unscrewing it from the engine. Something that I want to mention is there is the possibility oil could be behind this, so make sure you're not directly under it, and of course it's a good idea to have a collection bucket to recycle the oil as needed. Let's have a close look at the original OP sender. Looking at the threaded area, you can tell that it looks as though there was some sort of thread sealant on there, possibly a tape or even a gel of some sort. What you can also tell is that the sensor was really only screwed in approximately halfway. The base of the sensor right here was not bottomed out against the engine. So with that said, you want to take a quick look at your new one. Look at the threading. Go ahead and apply some thread sealer to it, and then we're going to go ahead and insert it into the engine and screw it in approximately halfway. Okay, I've got my thread sealed here. We're going to go ahead and start putting this in. Like I just said, I don't want to go ahead and bottom this out against the engine. I'm only going to put it in approximately half of the threads. I'll go ahead and reach inside here and I'm going to wipe down the corresponding hole. Essentially just making sure there's no dirt or debris or anything the like. Once you're sure that's clean and smooth and the threads look good, continue on with the sensor. Use my 21mm socket for this once again. All right, so right there, it feels almost as though it's bottomed out. I'll go ahead and pull this out, have a look. As you can tell, it's screwed in approximately halfway. Now let's have one last look at the wiring. Once again, we're looking for corrosion, rust, anything the like. Assuming it looks good, go ahead and slide it onto the sensor. Make sure you listen for a click, and then give it a gentle tug just to ensure that it's completely secured onto the sensor itself. That feels good. Now, of course, if you did happen to leak out a little bit of oil, you want to make sure you clean down the engine. You don't want any of that getting on the ground. Aside from that, we'll go ahead and get this back on the ground, start it up, let it run for a second. Make sure the oil pressure is where it needs to be, and then of course turn it off on a flat level surface and double check that oil level. Aside from that, thanks for watching.